You're listening to Off Limits. Liberal, irreverent, and really, really gay. Welcome, everybody, to Stumbling Safari on the Off Limits show tonight. We're doing another edition of Stumbling Safari. I got some good feedback from doing this show. This is Stumbling Safari, where we just sort of do Stumbler and kind of find different things on the internet and discuss them on the show. It can bring up some conversation, and it's kind of fun to do, so you can come along with me as I stumble the internet. Before I start, I wanted to say that you can listen to my older shows. Lately, I've been uploading a lot of older archives, and I've also been doing new shows as well, kind of intermixed between them. So if you haven't heard most of my shows before, some very old shows, some of the very first shows I've done have been recently uploaded to Spreaker, and you can go and listen to them there as well as on iTunes. And you can also be aware that there are two iTunes streams for me. There's the old one, which was through Blog Talk Radio site. And it'll say on that one, it'll say BTR Off Limits Show. And the new one is just Off Limits Show and copyright Off Limits Show. So be sure, if you want to listen to the newer shows, that you go to the newer feed. If you go to my website, which is offlimitsshow.com, then on that page you can actually see and find... on the first page at the very bottom, you can see a subscribe to my newest iTunes podcast. That's the one you should click on if you want to hear the newest shows. Or you can subscribe to the older shows, over 200 episodes under there, if you're interested in that one. So I just want to make you aware of that. And as I said, you can go to offlimitsshow.com. And you can also be sure, remember, you can, on the Gay Mass shows, as well as on the Off Limits shows, you can actually win a free t-shirt sent to you just by listening to the show from the beginning and actually knowing the secret word when it's time to make a call. And talk to me about what we're talking about. Say the secret word, and you'll win a free t-shirt. So... sorry about that. So anyway, so if you are interested in doing that, be sure to listen to those shows. Gay Mass, the next Gay Mass show I'll probably do tomorrow, and the next Off Limits show sometime probably next week. So before I go on to the Stumbling Safari thing, I wanted to let you know that I did start a magazine about 2 years ago. And that magazine actually was a national magazine for liberal politics. And I wrote many articles for it. I had a staff of writers that wrote for me, and I had advertisers as well. And so, however, that magazine was very difficult to sustain because it was national based. And even though it had its own voice, I decided to, so I stopped publishing it after the first year. I published a year's worth of actual editions of it, of actual print editions of the magazine, and as well as online. And so I've been trying to think about a way to revamp it to get better advertisers, more advertisers, and more interest. And I decided to take it to a local level. So if you happen to live in Texas, like I do, and you're a liberal like I am, you can be sure to check that out when it comes out, the revamped version in October this year of it, which focuses on the same issues: liberalism, liberal idealism, liberal politics, etc., and sort of calling out Republicans and the right-wing conservatism on their nonsense, and helps promote the ideals of a liberal. But it just does it based on particularly focused on Texas. So it'll be easier. It's much easier to get local advertisers than it is to get national ones. So I just want to let you know, I'll be mentioning more about that on my shows later on. So keep your eye out for that. So anyway, let's start the show. We're going to start with Stumbler. We'll start stumbling here and see what we find. Here we go. So the first thing is, oh, this is a perfect one for me to talk about. So the first one is how to suck at your religion. It says, does your religion make you judge people? Thou shalt not judge unless you don't belong to our church, and then I'll judge that. You're going straight to hell. Does your religion hinder the advancement of science, technology, or medicine? A very long time ago. Hey, I just proved that the earth revolves around the sun, not the other way around. Heresy! Recant your findings or spend the rest of your life in a dungeon. A not very long time ago. Hey, I just proved that stem cells can be used to treat leukemia. Heresy! Devils! Harvest stem cells from the souls of adorable newborn babies. Recant your findings or lose support from the Catholic Church. Do it for the babies, you infant-eating devil beast. Did you choose your religion, or did someone else choose it for you? Example of forcing dogma on a 5-year-old. Did you know that an invisible bearded flying man created everything in the universe? Oceans, dinosaurs, black holes, people, everything? Okay, Dad, I will believe this for the rest of my life. And then forcing dogma on a 25-year-old. Did you know that dinosaurs are extinct because they couldn't fit on Noah's Ark? Yeah, and Jesus rode a velociraptor when he defeated Jehovah's army of demon tiger monkeys. Parents, you wouldn't do this. I love green. Green is my favorite color, says the child. The dad says, no, your favorite color is purple. But Dad, I don't like purple. I like green. No, your favorite color is purple, and that's final. So don't do this. Dad, what happens to us after we die? I'm so glad you asked, sweetie. Allow me to now parrot what my parents told me as a child, thus perpetuating 2,000 years worth of bizarre, backwards, ridiculous beliefs that no one in their right mind would believe unless an authority figure taught it to them while they were young. Instead, maybe try this. Dad, what happens to us after we die? Well, sweetie, some people believe we go to heaven. Others think we're reincarnated. No one really knows for sure. What do you think happens to us after we die? Does your religion give you weird anxieties about your sexuality? I'm uncomfortable with the idea of you growing up and having sex, so I'm going to cope with that by using religion to make you feel weird and guilty about it. These are the things that happen when you do sexy things. Every time a man touches your nipples, Jesus sets fire to a school bus. If you give a man a blowjob, God makes a volcano erupt and incinerates a town of peaceful villagers. Erections are actually Satan's boner demons possessing a man's penis. If you encounter a boner demon, you should pray for it. And every time someone has homosexual intercourse, God punishes us by letting Nickelback release another album. There's still more here. Geez, there's a lot on this page. I'm still reading. There's some more. There's a few more I'm going to read. It says, do you validate your beliefs by constantly trying to convince others to believe the same thing? Mormons again coming to the door. This is why I'm a fan of Buddhists and Jews. There's no such thing as a door-to-door Jew. Their attitude is more like, I'm Jewish and this shit is awesome. I don't give a raging crap if you're joining or not. In fact, you're not allowed in. All this awesome shit is mine. In a parallel universe. Hey, says the two Jews. Hey, he looks troubled. Get him. Stop running, sir. Abraham died for your locks and matzo balls. Anyway. And I'll read one more here. Do you mock other religions for believing crazy things? Haha, so it says here that Scientologists believe the souls of aliens were brought here by the galactic lord named Xenu. Apparently, he flew the frozen bodies of these aliens here on interstellar cruisers and dropped them into volcanoes. The souls of these aliens now float around and pollute our souls with fear, doubt, and suffering. Haha, that's insane. Tom Cruise is insane, totally. Last one I'll read is this one. Meanwhile, believing some crazy shit of your own. Everyone knows, but really happened is an omnipotent father figure built outer space and then put a garden on Earth where a naked couple ate some fruit, which was bad. And then he had magic no-touchy sex with a virgin who gave birth to this bearded hippie guy who got killed until he came back to life as a zombie, where he floats around teaching us all not to masturbate too much or will be sent to the Earth's core and barbecued for all eternity. I know, right? That's crazy. Scientologists have it all wrong. Anyway, so fucking hilarious. Oh my God. That's the first stumble I did. That's why I love Stumbler. I would never have found this. But anyway, that was from oatmeal.com, which is a site that I absolutely love. And that was the first site that came out. So let's see what comes up next. And I agree with everything they said, by the way. Let's see. Okay, that's too visual. Can't do that one. That's pictures, pretty pictures, not interested. Fast food fun. Let's see what this says. Okay, no, that's not going to work either. By the way, today I went to a food truck. It was delicious. I had a gyro and pita chips and hummus. It was so fucking amazing. I love like Middle Eastern food. It's so good. It was delicious. Let's see what else we have here. I'm not finding much today. Sorry. Let's see what this says. I was trying to describe you to someone. I'm just going to read it because I have no idea if it's going to be funny or sad or what. I'm just going to read this 4-paragraph thing here. I was trying to describe you to someone. I was trying to describe you to someone a few days ago. You don't look like any girl I've ever seen before. I couldn't say, well, she looks just like Jane Fonda, except that she's got red hair and her mouth is different. And of course, she's not a movie star. I couldn't say that because you don't look like Jane Fonda at all. I finally ended up describing you as a movie I saw when I was a child in Tacoma, Washington. I guess I saw it in 1941 or 42, somewhere in there. I think I was even 6 or 8. I was 7 or 8 or 6. It was a movie about rural electrification and a perfect 1930s New Deal morality kind of movie to show kids. The movie was about farmers living in the country without electricity. They had to use lanterns to see by at night for sewing and reading, and they didn't have any appliances like toasters or washing machines, and they couldn't listen to the radio. Then they built a dam with big electric generators, and they put poles across the countryside and strung wire over fields and pastures. There was an incredible heroic dimension that came from the simple putting up of poles for the wires to travel along. They looked ancient and modern at the same time. 2 more paragraphs. Then the movie showed electricity like a young Greek god coming to the farmer and to take away forever the dark ways of his life. Suddenly, religiously, with the throwing of a switch, the farmer had electric lights to see by when he milked his cows in the early black winter mornings. The farmer's family got to listen to the radio and have a toaster and lots of bright lights to sew dresses and read the newspaper by. It was really a fantastic movie and excited me like listening to the Star-Spangled Banner or seeing photographs of President Roosevelt or hearing him on the radio. The President of the United States. I wanted electricity to go everywhere in the world. I wanted all the farmers in the world to be able to listen to President Roosevelt on the radio. That's how you look to me. Wow. That's kind of sweet, isn't it? Interesting. Long way of saying it, but that's sweet. That's sweet. Let's see what else we have here. This says a story that will make you think or cry. It says, oh, okay. It says below you'll find a selection of stories, thought-provoking life stories recently submitted to our site. These are simple, short, powerful, real-life stories written by people who live them. Let's see. Okay, it's really like 1 paragraph long. Today, it's been 10 years since my abusive ex-fiancé sold my favorite guitar. He sold it on the day I left him. When I went to claim my belongings, he was proud that he had sold it to a pawn shop. Luckily, I managed to track down the guy who bought it from the pawn shop. He was really sweet and gave it back to me for free on the condition that I accompany him on his front porch for an hour to play the guitar with him. He grabbed a second guitar, and we ended up sitting there on his porch for the rest of